Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 62 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series. I am hanging out with my magical nuke. That's what I'm calling it. It's mostly a nuke, but a little bit of magic helping me out. Catch up from last episode, we have fabricators converting empty LZH condensators into mostly full ones. They get about 80% full, and they're maintained inside the nuclear reactor by my awesome friends, the clay golems, who are told to keep this reactor full of LZH condensators as best as they can. And this guy is going to keep this chest full of empty LZH condensators, and he's going to pull them out of the nuclear reactor. So we've got this guy pulling out empty ones, puts it in the chest. The chest then is the adjacent inventory to this fabricator, which uses Lapis to fill these guys up. And then this guy does his thing and puts them right back where they were left off. We've also got an awesome temperature monitor here, monitoring the temperature. It's a remote thermal monitor, and it emits a redstone signal anytime there's a loss in power, or there's an overload of heat. So basically, if the LZH condensators, for whatever reason, get stuck and this nuclear reactor starts producing heat, one of two things happens. The overclocked heat vents start to drain that heat for you, and usually they, manage to survive just fine. However, if something really bad happened, who knows what could occur. Then we've got our MFSU, which is emptying all its power both into the thermal monitor and all the way out here into our other MFSUs, which are going to be used for all kinds of important power uses. So we've got this guy nice and full, we've got this guy starting to fill up, and if this MFSU ever fills up entirely, it's going to send a signal back home to say, hey, we're a little bit out of power over here. We got too much of it. You should probably turn yourself off. And that's what it does. It sends this redstone signal all the way back over to this AND gate. So you need to have three things in order for this nuclear reactor to run. It has to be cool enough, it has to have somewhere for the power to go, and it has to be manually switched on. All three must be true, and then the nuclear reactor starts to run. Look at that. Cool. Producing energy by the boatload. Now, the only downside at the moment is we're producing more energy than can really be stored in this MFSU. So at this point, it's kind of like, hey, we need something to do with all this extra energy. And at that point, we're going to start stealing some of the energy that's going into this MFSU. So right now, there's a ton of power going in this thing. But we're going to start, diverting it to do something very, very important that we haven't covered just yet. And that is making more Lapis. That's right. We need to supply a steady amount of Lapis to this thing, because at the moment, as these LZH condensators get cooled off and they run out of their heat and they're all burned up, you'll see that they, their Lapis runs out and they have to be refilled with more Lapis. Okay. So in order to produce that Lapis, we're going to have two approaches. Number one, we're trying to breed some really good Lapis bees. And you know what? I'm going to turn off the reactor for now. It doesn't really need to be on at this moment. Off, thank you. And down this pathway, here we go, shooting over to our alvearies. So what's going on over here? Well, number one, we've been producing a decent amount of emeralds, but since we got rid of the frames inside the frame housings here, not as much as I would have hoped. The emerald bees definitely have highest productivity, so that's good. Or not highest, but high. And, we need a little bit more power going on here. So I'm not thrilled with the output of emeralds at this point. I could always build some kind of system to keep frames going on, and maybe I will at some point. We'll see. I think you can pipe frames into the alveary version of frame housings. I think, but we'll find out. But long story short, I want to check out the Lapis Princess and Drone. So if we were to go snag our analyzer here, where's the Bealyzer? There it is, nice. Let's go ahead and put Lapis in, okay. And we've got fast speed. Not too worried about most of the other stuff, but we can see that they require lily pads nearby as a flower type. And this Lapis Drone, well, he requires flowers nearby as a type. So, you know what? We'll find out what happens. One of these two, traits will become the dominant one over several generations. Who knows which one? So right now we can see the bees are flipping through the pipes there, and they're getting ready to take care of their emerald thing. I'm going to move them out, and I'm going to put Lapis bees in place. Cool. We have a lily pad in the back here, ready to go, and I'm interested to see how well these Lapis queens produce Lapis. It might take a while, it might not, but we're going to come back at the end of the episode and see what kind of good stuff starts to filter in here, because eventually we should start getting Lapis, and I'm not too sure how much they'll produce. I'm thinking thinking it won't be enough. And if it's not enough, that's fine, because like I said, we're going to use UU matter to help supplement the lapis. So today's episode will be producing UU matter and turning it into lapis, and it will be supplemented by the bee. Okay, so let's see what happens and how we're going to do this. We're going to need quite a few of many different resources. We're going to use quite a few different mods at that point, and we're just going to kind of do our best to make some really cool stuff. All right, guys, we'll be back in a few when we're ready to roll. Alright guys, so I determined that I want a bunch of igneous extruders. So to make UU matter, as you know, you're going to want a lot of scrap. And a good way to make scrap, of course, is to recycle things like cobblestone. Now, I could make a cobblestone generator that makes a bunch of it, but honestly, that tends to produce a lot of lag, especially when we're making a large amount of cobblestone, like, you know, a bunch of it. I want to make a ton of cobblestone to recycle constantly. Okay, so for that, I'm going to go ahead and make some igneous extruders. So they're going to be a little bit less laggy. So let's go ahead and make some. What do you say? Igneous extruder machines, please. Dun, 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 dun. We're going to make 32 of these guys, okay? So from there, okay, I want to go ahead and make, let's say, about 32 of the pneumatic servos. Go. Now, how am I making sure that I only get 32 of these at a time? Well, I just made sure I had the right number of resources. So I just limited myself by glass. See how there's no more glass left in here? I made sure that I had exactly a stack of glass. It requires 2, so I got exactly 32 pneumatic servos left in there. Awesome. What else do I have to make this thing happen? I need pistons. Okay, so how do I make sure I have exactly 32 pistons? Note that I only have 2 stacks of cobblestone. Okay, let's see what happens. Go, pistons, go. Igneous extruder pistons, rock and roll. So that should, in the end, make 32 pistons. Excellent. See how we're going with this? Okay, now I've got another stack of glass I'm going to have to place in there. And how am I for redstone otherwise? Not bad. Okay, here goes nothing. Igneous extruders times 32, I hope. Almost. What was I short on? Probably tin? Was I short on tin? Oh, that's why. I only put one of the stacks in the chest. There we go. Now we're good. And tin goes home. And we've got 32 igneous extruders. Now you guys remember these things, I hope. For igneous extruders to work, you're going to need just a bucket each of lava and water. You can right-click on the machine itself to get that placed in there, and in the end, you'll wind up being able to choose which of the 2 items you want to make. You can either go and make cobblestone, which costs nothing, stone, which costs a little bit of water but no lava, or obsidian, which costs, actually it uses a little bit of lava for stone, I think, but not much. Like, you can make a bunch of stone. And then finally obsidian, which is a full bucket each of lava and water. So I'm going to be making cobblestone with this stuff. So let's get our crescent hammer and knock this thing off. Go on, get out of there. Cool. 32 of these good guys is meaning we're going to need a lot of lava. So let's get some lava. What do you say? How are we doing over here? Oh, okay, yeah, look, there's 32 buckets of lava. Very cool. Then we're going to need about 32 cans of water. So how am I for water cans? Probably not as good. Let's make some. And close. Here goes nothing. That'll do. So I'm going to go fill up the water cans, sleep through this night, and then we're going to start creating a bunch of stuff. I also, if you notice in my inventory, have a filler on me. I'm going to clear out the under area right beneath the nuclear reactor. And down there is where I'm going to place this nifty machine that's going to be making tons and tons of cobble and UU matter. Okay? So, yeah, let me get this area cleared out, and I'll be back. And through the magic of a clearing filler, just a few seconds later, we've got a nice cleared out room directly under our nuclear reactor. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and get out of there for a second. Make sure to refill in some of the warded stone blocks that I placed down, and then we're ready to roll. So let's just cover these floorings back up. Had to dig in just a little bit to make sure that everything worked out properly, and it has. Nice. Yeah, I love the filler. It's so cool. Perfect. All right, we're going to need some light in here. I'll take care of that in just a moment. But for now, let's get ready to really do some cool stuff. You know what? Maybe a good idea here for light would be this. There we go. Light enough for now. Just so no mobs spawn. Okay, good. Alright guys, made a couple routers, made a couple nifty gadgets, ready to put together this room. So, what's the plan? Let's go over it. I'm going to go hang out in this room, and I'm going to set up a router that's going to constantly fill a bunch of recyclers with cobblestone being created by the Igneous extruder. Cool. Then we're going to set it up so that the recyclers and the eventual mass fabricator are all going to power off of the nuclear reactor. So basically, whenever the reactor is running, it's creating UU matter. Got a good deal of what's going on already? Yeah. Pretty awesome. What else do I want to make sure I have here? We could probably go with a couple chests. I'll just go with wooden chests for now. I think that'll be fine. We'll kind of get this ball rolling. So first step in the plan, I want to figure out exactly where everything's going to be. I'm thinking I'm going to need to tap into the line right here. So do I still have my wand on me? Must have put it away, didn't I? Yeah. So right there is where I'm going to tap into this power line. Oh, you know what I forgot? Power lines. I knew I was forgetting something. Yeah, so that's where I'm going to send my power line down through. Now, again, we want to make sure that any possible explosions that occur as a result of any mismanaged power flow, well, we want to make sure that that's mitigated as best we can. So we'll probably want to enclose this with some of the magic glass as best we can manage, and hopefully we won't have too much of an issue. But, you know, we'll see what happens. Maybe even if I wanted to be super cool about it. Nah, it's cool as it is. Alright, right there. Alright, and down we go. Remember, portable holes don't even work through this material, so, you know, keep that in mind. We'll probably just want to send the power line like so. Maybe right through here. Boy, I really, really need my gravity suit. I so miss it. I'm going to enclose it with this stuff. Yeah, this is annoying. There we go, much better. Don't be shy. Tell us how you really feel, Dyer. I want to be able to creative mode flight. That's how I really feel. Okay, that ought to be pretty safe. So any explosions that occur up there, most of it will be mitigated here, and you know, we shouldn't have too much to worry about at that point. Okay, so power can come flowing down here and hit both the mass fabricators and the recyclers and get them going. But before we worry too much about those, let's worry about our line of, let's see, we've got 32 of these, right? So let's run 8. 8, and 2 more. That ought to do. Cool. So we've got these things going. Now, if my understanding is correct, all I got to do to start creating cobblestone is one click of U and one click of U. And boom, cobblestone coming along. So I'm going to be clicking like a madman for the next couple of minutes, and I'll be back when I'm done. Alright, so all of these Igneous extruders are making cobblestone. Stage 1, buffer chest. That's what we got right here. We've got a buffer chest. What I want to do is tell this router to go in here, and I'm going to wind up pulling items out. Now, for the router, we're going to need 2 things. Number 1, I'm thinking, let's see, probably want a machine filter, probably want a speed boost, probably want a bandwidth, and probably want an ejector. Okay, those are the upgrades we're going to want for this router. So let's go make some of them. And we're probably going to want similar upgrades for the other router or 2 that we're going to want to make. So might as well get ready to do that. So that's what we got there. Let's take care of it. Router upgrade for machine filter is important. Oh yeah, we're going to have to make some more of these logic matrix programmer thingies. Have I shown you guys these much yet? I don't think I have. Ooh, that's troublesome because I don't think I've shown you this yet. Oh boy, we've got a potential problem. Let's go see what we got over here going on. How is this thing going, by the way? Oh yeah, we're fine. Good. Got plenty of this stuff cooking up in our boilers. We're happy. All right, I might need to go into some interesting stuff, but give me a minute here and I'll see what I can do. Alright guys, I'm going to try this without the machine filter. I think I can manage. So first off, I definitely need some ejectors, and these guys are not too bad to make. So right there you can see the recipe. I'm going to throw a bit of wood in there and even a little bit of cobble to make sure this thing goes through, and the dark iron that's necessary. There we go. Made myself 2 ejectors. I'm going to need both of them, I think, eventually. Now remember, bandwidth. This guy's pretty important. This thing is required if we want to wind up having, you know, full stack of items come out at a time instead of individual items. Okay, thoroughness we don't need. That's the one that makes sure to empty a machine before moving on to the next. I'm not worried about that, but I do want the speed boost because we're gonna have a lot of machine traveling here, especially at least one. So let's get a bit of milk and some sugar and probably at least a little bit of U, and we should have a little bit of wheat here. 1, 2, 3. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of U. That ought to be good. And sugar, and I just need to get some milk. Alright, the 1 speed boost upgrade ought to be enough, but we'll see what happens. Maybe I want a second one eventually, we'll see. So let's go put all these upgrades into the router and show you guys the nifty way they work. Now, we could have used a machine filter here. That's an important one, kinda, but we're going to do our best to avoid having to use it because that requires a whole lot of work to set up. Alright, so we are going to be extracting items, alright? From the top sides. Well, the interesting thing here is that, you know, these machines will auto-extract to the top sides, but we don't really want to deal with that. We, you know, even though we're telling it to extract out of the top sides, we want to actually change all these machines from red on the sidedness to a non-color. So we want to just remove the color if we want it to work to be able to pull out of it, but I'm going to try and do it without having to go click through all these machines. So from anywhere it doesn't work, from slot 0, none of these work. Oh, come on. Nothing? Alright, we're going to have to do it from top sides. So what I believe here is if I go into the config for this and click it like so, is that going to be able to pull out? There we go. Nice. Now remember, I want it to pull out stacks at a time. So we're going to do bandwidth, and boom, it pulled out a whole stack. Then I want to hit it with the ejector module. And what that's going to do, okay, check this out. You ready? Bandwidth, move stacks at a time. Eject to whatever side this chest is. So let's just tap it through. That's where I want. Eject to south. Is that where we're going? Nice. There we go. So now it's pulling everything out of this guy. Now if we wanted to pull out of this one, we just go through and click here. And now it's draining these out as well. So we want to pretty much go down the line and click all these buttons. A nuisance, so I'll be back. So what we've got here is an automatic cobblestone factory. As soon as we pull a stack of cobblestone out, boom, it's instantly replaced by the router, which then fills its internal buffer with one of these machines' cobblestone. See, we're already creating more, and we're going to have tons of cobblestone available for whatever purposes we need. Wahahaha. Now, on to recycling. So we're going to want to then recycle the cobblestone into scrap, pull the scrap out, and throw it into a mass fabricator, which can then have the UU matter pulled out and stored somewhere. So let's make that happen next. What we're going to want to do is get ourselves a few recyclers, probably like 4 or 5. I think I know for a fact that I've got a handful in my basement. And I'm also going to need a mass fab. And I might as well pull the one out of my basement that I've got, because number 1, they're a nuisance to craft, and number 2, you really don't need more than one of these things. So down here, going to make sure I get out of my nifty little canvas bag, get ourselves a wrench. Cool. Let's get the mass fabricator out of here. So let's disassemble this whole mess because we don't really need most of it. The extractors can stay. How did a grafter get in here? I couldn't even tell you. Wow, that was weird. All right, and there's iron in here. Cool. Weird things are occurring already. All right, weird things got into my stuff, but that's okay. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. Let's clean up this stuff because we don't really want to be recycling things anymore. We can even get rid of you and you and you. Look at that. So now all the stuff that's going to get recycled, as it was already, is just going to get burned into that nifty little fire. Recyclers, you're coming with me. And you've even got, oh boy, lots of junk. How did smelted ores make their way into there? I would never be able to tell you. And a little bit of you. Cool. I've got 8 overclocker upgrades. I'm probably going to want a few more of them. We also want to make sure we get our mass fab. Thank you. And the MFSU will leave there. Okay, that chest, we don't need you really anymore. We really don't need much of this setup, so I'm going to clean the whole thing up and, you know, come back in a bit. Oh, there we go, scrap. Cool, I'll take that. Yeah, none of this stuff do we really need anymore. All right, back in a few moments. I'll want to equal trade this stuff later, but look how much nicer that looks. Beautiful, right? Throw the relay. I'm just putting all this stuff in this chest as a temporary, kind of just store this junk. Maybe I'll hang on to the hoppers. I don't know if I'll need them or not, but it can't hurt to hang on to them. Do I got everything else I need? Yeah, I'm good. All right, so got recyclers, got mass fabricators, got to take a nap, back in a few. So now I'm going to show you guys something really cool. We're making item tesseracts, as you can see. So I just wanted to demonstrate using that chest. That was just temporary, as I told you guys before. What I'm going to do now is something even niftier. Okay, so we're going to grab our portal gun just to demonstrate this. All right, so item tesseracts basically have a internal inventory. I think it's 1 block in size that's hidden, and you can't see it. So let's get this chest out of the way. You're going over there, Mr. Chest, full of cobble. All right, now if we want to get things sent to a tesseract, it's real easy. Just place it down. All right, we're going to turn this guy on, and we're going to call it, let's say, cobble. And, you know, what is this? 1, 2, sure, that can be 3. Cobble. Check. And we're going to actually set it so that it's public access, send only. That makes sense, all right? So, you know, back to frequency 3. I forgot to add the frequency. There we go. Cobble. There we go. Now we're good. Public access, send only. Redstone. Nah, we don't need redstone doing anything for us. So what's going to happen is this guy is going to constantly try to put items into the item tesseract. Now I'm going to come over here to demonstrate this, okay? What happens if we've got this item tesseract sitting right here and we set it to the cobble frequency? Check. It should fill up the chest with cobblestone. Why? Well, because items are getting shoved in here, and these things act like pipes, basically. So as the item sits in here, it's just waiting to go somewhere. And then when it has a place that it's allowed to go, boom, it shoves it in there as quickly as it can. Awesome. That's what we're talking about. So what we want to use here is this concept, okay? So let's now take our wrench. Let's see, it's probably in here. I need my prototype or my crescent hammer, that thingy. Yeah. We're going to get you back. Thank you. And we're going to grab just a few of these guys. We want probably our recyclers here. 1, 2, and 3. All right. And what we're going to set these guys up is we're going to place the router next to it, like so. And then we're going to place down our item tesseract with cobble. Okay, we're going to set the router to insert into the top sides of the adjacent machine. So if we had a piece of cobble in there, boom, it would be magically teleported into the top sides of the machine. We're going to want the bandwidth upgrade right there, okay, and that should be good. Never used my speed. Don't really need it. It's not that big a deal. So now what will happen is if we have a whole stack in, boom, it'll drop the whole stack into the next available slot. If we turn on our cobble and set it to check, boom, these guys should all instantly fill up with cobblestone. Cobble, cobble, cobble. Nice. So, and as soon as something is pulled out of here, boom, it'll instantly refill. Yeah, that's what's up. So the item tesseract is shoving the cobble into the router, and the router is inserting it into all adjacent machines. Perfect. Now, let's see what we got coming up next. We need to power these things. So let's power it behind the scenes, because you know that's the way I like to run my power line. Okay, so let's send it, I don't know, something like this. We'll probably want this power to go straight back into here. And we'll make this room look a little fancy in a bit here, so don't worry about that. Maybe even... That's probably good. Okay, now remember these guys only accept low voltage, so we either make voltage transformers for all of them, or we just create an MV transformer and an LV transformer, and we get ready to run that stuff straight into it. Now, we do want to make sure that we still have high voltage going into our mass fabricator later on. So, yeah, we'll want to make sure that that still is the case. We might want to even bump this back a little bit further into the wall, just to make sure this looks extra nice. Might even need a few more of these, but no big deal. All right, so here we'll set up the MV transformer, remember, 3 dots on the top. And then here, oh boy, this is going to be tricky. Where's my other wrench now? So many wrenches. I should make a prototype Omni wrench and show you guys. That's a pretty nice device. We'll put this guy like, well, I don't like him being there. Let's put it like so. Too tight. Don't like it. Alright, wrench it up. We'll put the MV transformer here. There we go. We'll probably want the LV like that. And that should have put the triple dot side facing the MV. And then we'll put the glass fiber cable like so. Hooray! We're not getting any power. Because the nuclear reactor's not on. That's why, of course. Herp-de-derp. Alright, so recycler there. And then we should be good to go with the power. And that looks nice. Alright, so should we test this? Hopefully we won't hear an explosion in a second, but with the nuclear reactor running, it should start sending all its power down here and start recycling these guys. Nice. And we're going to put this right here. And look how fast that runs. Boom, super fast. And notice that it's never running out of cobblestone because our handy little filter or router thing here is taking care of that. Nice. And there we go. Dude, look at that. Beautiful. We're creating tons of scrap from just 3 small recyclers. A good steady amount of scrap. Nice. Alright, so now what we want to do is, we might want a couple more recyclers. 3 is probably good to start off with, but like I said, might need a few more. We'll see. But for now, we're doing pretty good. Alright, so, this thing's running, everything's good. How are you for power, by the way? Not bad. Oh, look. We're exchanging our nice LZH condensators. Ha! Look at that. It just worked beautifully. I love it when things work. Sometimes a little surprised, even. Okay, so all the power is going downstairs to run that thing and going into the MFSU, so you can see it's quickly filling up. Out of curiosity, how much energy are we using to run those recyclers? Shouldn't be too big a deal. So coming out of here should still be 2,000 EU per tick on average. Nice. So remember, you want to, like, you know, let that click last longer than that. But how much is going through this cable? That's the question. We're looking at 126. That's not bad. So now we want to get power running for the mass fab. And for that, we're probably going to want to put this thing over here. So I'm going to need some more power, a few more other things, but I'm thinking mass fabricator goes here with a one more router right here. And we'll talk about how we're going to configure this whole thing in a bit, but oh yeah, it's a little not cool. Machine filter would be really useful right here. Alright, we'll sort this out, don't worry. Alright guys, so if we really want to do this all with routers, we're going to need what's called a machine filter. Now unfortunately, you know, if we look up router upgrades here, we can see that the machine filter requires this nifty guy, the logic matrix identifier. For that we're going to need a logic matrix programmer, which can only be found in dungeons. The good news is I already have one of those, okay? We also need a spider eye, not a problem, but then we need a logic matrix, okay? And this guy is a little bit more complex to make. It's going to require a little bit of infrastructure from Neptune's mod, right? Factorization. So we got to take a look at making logic matrices. I can, the good news is, make them with a little bit of the infrastructure I already have. I hope. Let's see. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Hey, there we go. Solar turbine. Let's see. What if we search for steam? Ooh, maybe I'm in trouble. Maybe I can't make it with the infrastructure I already have. That might be a problem. We'll see. One way or another, we'll figure it out. Unfortunately, though, I think we're getting pretty close to the wrapping up point, but I do want to finish setting up the power lines here. So let's just set this guy up, and this is going to be our, you know, power for what I deemed my mass fabricator. So we're going to eventually have the mass fabricator sitting right here, getting filled up. Oh boy, I misclicked. Awesome. Getting filled up from the recyclers. Now, if I decide not to do it with routers, I could always use retrievers or something along those lines to just stick as much scrap in here as possible and just keep it going, okay? But at this point, it's real easy, right? We basically have our mass fabricator going, and as long as we've got scrap sitting in there, okay, it's going to constantly get more scrap made by our recyclers. And when the, you know, nuclear reactor's running, Go on, nuclear reactor, run. Okay, we should start producing huge amounts of mass in the mass fab, okay? We just need to do one thing, is activate it. So I'll probably snag some of the gates and everything that I set up last time. Let's see. You gonna run or what, buddy? Oh wait, I know what's probably happening. Yep, look at that. It is not on because this MFSU is full. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to see happen, and it's working properly. Nice. I'm going to change this to capacitor has energy so that it runs for now, just to demonstrate, because we are going to want to tweak the way this works. There we go. Now we're talking. We can turn this thing off, and look how quickly it runs. Wow. We're going to be producing a lot of this good stuff. So we can see here, starting a new measurement. Wow, 300 EU per tick going in there. That's wild. Awesome, good stuff. So we've got some EU going towards the recyclers. We've got some EU going into the mass fab. We've got some EU going into the MFSU. Cool. 1995 here, and going down this way. 349, huh? Probably sending a lot of EU into the MFSU still. But that's no big deal, because once that MFSU fills up, it's going to all filter its way straight down into the path down there, and that's going to be pretty neat. So once this MFSU is full, then we're going to start sending all of our energy straight down. Okay, so instead of 341 going down there, we're going to wind up sending all this energy that's being produced directly downstairs. Cool, right? So yeah. I think that's going to be awesome. I'll let this run for a little bit, make sure it fills up there. You can see here that we're doing a great job of getting everything running. I want to turn you off for a minute, and I want to definitely set up the gate system that I used before. And then next episode, we'll be back. Like I said, we might set up some infrastructure for factorization, and then we'll be able to create nifty upgrades to the routers that allow us to filter by machine type, which is really going to be useful if we want to use routers for this. Another option, of course, using retrievers from Red Power 2, but I really like routers. They're so cool. Anyway, we'll mess around with it later. Oh, sounds like my golems are doing some stuff up there. Nice. So the LZH condensators are running. The Lapis is slowly getting used up, but don't worry, we're about to set up a system to create more of it. So that'll probably all happen next episode. But for now, like I said, gotta sign off. Hope you enjoyed the episode. And as always, guys, take it easy.